Good evening, Team Dunlap. As promised, we have your update for you finally. I know we wish could have brought this to you sooner, but we did have an admin meeting this morning. I had a department chair meeting this morning. Our leadership team met. We had to get a lot of the details worked out, so I think we've got those worked out now for you. But before I begin this rather lengthy video, I want to apologize in advance because it is longer than most that we've shared. I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you uh, and recognize our incredible faculty at Dunlap High School. They have been working tirelessly to bring our students meaningful learning experiences in an unfamiliar format. So they have troubleshooted, they have figured out workarounds, they have collaborated. We have a Google Hangout that we set up for the faculty. They've been working through things tirelessly to figure out the best ways to provide their students learning experiences. So thank you to the men and women of Team Dunlap very much. So first, let's move on to what we know. Graduation. We had planned an activity on May 9th to recognize our seniors. It wasn't going to be our graduation, but an activity on that night that we had scheduled for graduation that involves some type of drive-through format for our seniors at the high school, and then we have our faculty up there. But when I tried to get that approved through Sheriff Asbell, he said no, that does not meet the governor's requirements or restrictions. So Dr. Dearman is currently working with Sheriff Asbell to find a format that is going to be acceptable for us to do on May 9th. So there'll be more to come on that. But in the meantime, we have set July 25th as our graduation date. So we think that setting it that late in the summer, I get it, it's not convenient, but we do feel that a ceremony is certainly deserved by our senior students. But setting it that late gives us an opportunity to hopefully get some more flexibility in what we're allowed to do. It also is not too late in the summer that prevents us from starting the 2021 school year off in an effective manner. So on July 25th, we're going to try to do something at DHS on the football field. Now, I know it's hot in July, but we're going to do it in the evening under the lights, some form of a in-person ceremony. And if something happens to where the restrictions are so strict that we can't do that, we will have our virtual format ready to roll out on that same date. So we will already have built the virtual graduation just in case, and we will roll it out on the 25th as well. So that will be our date for the class of 2020. Keep your fingers crossed. Finals. So students, you'll be happy to know they will not be having finals this spring semester. I know that's a question that we get a lot of. But the biggest question we get are how are we calculating grades? And we spent a lot of time working on our calculations for our spring semester grades. And what we've come up with is an 80-20 split. So 80% of your semester two grade will be based on your third quarter performance, and 20% of your second semester grade will be based on your fourth quarter grades that are higher than your third quarter mark. Okay. Again, we toyed around with different percentages, but we felt that the 80-20 was the fairest way to do it because it still gives those students who are doing really well in this environment the opportunity to raise their third quarter grade by a full letter grade. Okay. Our third quarter grades, why it's so heavily ranked? Because obviously that's our most valid and reliable data point for student achievement. We know those students were in our building and we know they were doing the work. We were there giving them lessons. We were assessing them every day. We feel really good about that third quarter grade being valid. This fourth quarter grade, it's a little bit tougher because we're not there assessing them every day. You know, and we know that there's a lot of plagiarizing going on and students are sharing work. So we're not always getting the students' authentic work. So the 80-20 split is what we're going to go with for the second semester. Okay. And again, nobody's grades can go down during this time. They can only go up. All right. Second thing, incompletes. Students who do not complete an adequate level of work out of each class will receive an incomplete. So that's based on the teacher's expectations. Please make sure you're engaged. I have great news about that. Our engagement rate went up from 74% last week to 79. That's authentic engagement. It's not just contact with students. It's doing the work. So that is an awesome number. And I would put that up against anybody nationally to say that almost 80% of their students are engaged in the learning process. So great job to you guys for that. I appreciate that. You'll want to be engaged because if you get it incomplete, you're going to have to complete that work this summer or even next fall. And we are working on parameters for those students who have incompletes, not allowing them to have early release until those incompletes are reconciled. Okay, so make sure you're engaged in not getting those incompletes. Valedictorians, we are going to determine this year's class of 2020's valedictorians based on their standing and their records at the end of seventh semester. Their seventh semester. So the last fall, that fall semester standing is where those numbers we're going to be what we utilize for valedictorians. Usually we use the eighth semester, but under these circumstances, we're going to go back to the seventh semester. So yes, that takes a lot of stress off some of you who are still striving for that goal. And now you know whether you have made that or not. So that's good news. And I'll be in contact with you to work on our graduation speeches, okay? Senior grades, the last day to have work turned into your teachers is May 5th. If you need an extension for some reason, then you need to talk to your specific teacher about that, and they can give you up until May 8th at their discretion. We obviously don't want to do that. May 5th is the deadline, but there are always circumstances that would limit that. And all of our grades are going to be final by the end of the day on May 12th. Okay, and as you know, prom is scheduled for June 20th. I'll be honest, I'm not real optimistic about that with the way things are looking, the parameters that Governor Pritzker set on us. But if we can't do it on the 20th, we will cancel that. And I know it's something that we don't want to do, and I know you certainly don't want to hear that, but that's where that's at right now. Awards night. Our awards ceremony will be shared electronically on May 6th. Departmental awards and scholarships will be announced at that time. Mrs. Powers is working on that format for us, so I appreciate her and the Video Media Club for doing that. So that's May 6th, awards night. Okay, so the next part, probably the clumsiest part of this, is logistics. Returning materials. Seniors, you're going to Chromebooks and all their materials, uniforms, library books, digital equipment, art supplies, school supplies, etc. from seniors will be collected May 11th. We're going to give you details on that at a later date, but May 11th is going to be that. We'll also return your personal items from your lockers at that time. Again, it talks about the equipment that we're going to ask you to provide, choir robes, art supplies, books, school property, all that stuff would be May 11th. PE lockers, we're going to leave those sit for a little bit because those aren't nearly as organized as our hall lockers are. So you're going to be asked to come back in August and get that stuff if you've got something in there that you'd like to claim other than some smelly PE shorts. Chromebooks, collection for seniors taking the AP exams, that will happen after your AP exam. So if you're a senior taking an AP exam, just hold on to your Chromebook until after your AP exams are final. All right. We know that some of you have become dependent on those, and we certainly don't want to take those prior to a big assessment like that. Grades for 9th through 11th, not grades for logistics for those grades. Chromebooks and all the materials, uniform, the same stuff we talked about for the seniors. We have not got that date set yet, but we will set that date and send it to you soon. 9th through 11th grades will keep your Chromebook through the summer, and you will start back with that same Chromebook in the fall of 2020. Okay, that will save on the whole logistics of turning those back in. This is a one-time allowance, I guess. We're going to allow you to keep those over the summer. Again, PE lockers, I'm sure you have some items in there. We'll allow you to come in August to get those. But again, that will be determined a little bit later date. Baccalaureate will be held same date that we had and time that we had previously announced. So May 7th at 6 o'clock. Steve Pekaski and Tim Benningfield are working on that service. So we'll send some information out as that becomes available. Summer school is a question we get a lot of questions about. We are going to try to do this summer school virtually or e-learning style. We have enough time here to plan it. It's going to take a lot of conversations to change that format, but we are going to be offering some of these classes. Now, it's important that you read this because it's only for those students who have already registered for the course. And we will not be offering summer school PE. I'm sorry, there's just no way we can do that in a e-learning format at this time. We will be offering speech, civics, the blended resource management, software apps will be also offered. Also, again, we're working on the format. We'll communicate that out to you. Once we communicate that out to you, you will have until May 1st to let your counselor know if you are interested in that or not. So May 1st, we get it. The e-learning is not for everybody, and you may not want to do it. So let your counselor know by May 1st if that's not your desired way to pursue that. Unfortunately, the ATS summer internship program was also a casualty of the pandemic. We will not be offering that. Mr. Jim Hefty has been wonderful. He'd like to see if there's some opportunities in the fall for some of the students. He was very complimentary of the pool that ATS received. They had over 30 applicants in the pool for those summer internships. He said there were some really high quality students in there that he was looking forward to getting to know, but unfortunately that opportunity will not happen. And I believe those who applied are receiving an email from him. If they have not already, they'll be receiving that shortly. Okay, so right now it looks like May 19th will be the last day for student engagement. And teachers will be with us until the 22nd, and we'll work on getting grades submitted from that point forward if someone needs an additional time to do that. Other than that, I know that's a long announcement. I'm sorry, there's a lot of information in there. Just know we're doing our best to bring your students the best experience they can at this time. And we know certainly that this process isn't perfect, but it's not something that we approach haphazardly, and we do put a lot of thought into the things we do. So we will be in contact with those items I talked to you about that needed further clarification. But until then, be safe, keep a positive attitude, and know that we're going to get through this and we're going to be better for it. All right. Thank you. Have a great night and weekend.